Morocco is making a bold statement in world football with heavy investment in infrastructure and talent development. The kingdom is positioning itself as a powerhouse on and off the pitch. After successfully hosting the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, Morocco is now preparing to co-host the 2030 FIFA World Cup alongside Spain and Portugal. Across the country, stadiums are being built and upgraded to meet global standards. The Marrakech Stadium, one of the key venues for international tournaments, hosted matches during the AFCON 2025 and is expected to play a role in the 2030 World Cup. The IBN Batouta Stadium in Tangier is the fifth largest stadium on the continent, while the exquisite Prince Moulay Abdellah Stadium, which hosted the final of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, continues to win plaudits worldwide for its design. It also holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest stadium construction in history after it was built in just 2 years. But the jewel in the crown is the proposed Grand Stade Hassan II, a 115,000-seat arena set to become the largest football stadium in the world. Currently under construction and scheduled to be opened in 2028, it is expected to host the final of the 2030 FIFA World Cup. Morocco's ambition extends beyond infrastructure. The kingdom believes in nothing but gold and is currently going through a golden age of Moroccan football built on major investments, administrative consistency, and organizational excellence across all levels. The kingdom have won the 2018, the 2020, the 2025 CHAN tournaments. They finished fourth at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. They are the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup champions, 2025 Arab Cup champions, Under-23 AFCON champions, Paris 2024 Olympic Games men's football bronze medalist, Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations champions, 2025 CAF Confederations Cup winners, RS Berkane, and 2025 CAF Women's Champions League winners, AS-FAR. The Atlas Lions are currently ranked 8th in the world, with stars like reigning African Player of the Year, Achraf Hakimi, and Brahim Diaz excelling in Europe's top leagues. Journalists and sports administrators have praised Morocco's rapid transformation, pointing to its modern facilities, organization, and hospitality.
Infrastructure is key to sporting success because, where would if you don't have, and when I talk about infrastructure, I'm not even talking about the high end that we're seeing. For instance, every child in any country who has access to basic sporting facilities can hone their skills at a young age. If you're a child and you have talent in athletics, for instance, and there are no running tracks close to your house, how do you develop? If you're a child and you have talent in football and there is no playing ground in your estate or in your school, for instance, how do you develop? So infrastructure has different levels. There's a basic infrastructure for developmental levels before we get to what we're seeing here. And I think Morocco has that.
Current conversation, Morocco is number one, and the gap between them and the rest of Africa is very far. Not only are they number one in terms of infrastructure, but we're not seeing the result of the infrastructure. Every stadium we've gone, Fez is like Onikon in the standard of Morocco. But even in that Onikon standard, they have a proper space for the media.
I think they are intentional. That's the word first and foremost, because it's one thing to know what to do and how to go about it. And I appreciate them, the Moroccan government, for putting things in place. When it comes to facilities, it is top-notch. Look at Fez, in the northern part of Morocco. The stadium, not kind of world class, so to speak, but the facilities they have there, you must give them kudos for it. And then when you talk about the one in Marrakech, oh, that's heavenly. This is one of the stadiums that depends on to host the World Cup in 2030.
Yeah, it's heaven, infrastructurally, and I love the fact that Fez and Marrakech proves that there's no one way to build great structures. There are two very completely different cities instead of how they build, but both infrastructure look very, very good. The Fez stadium is very different from the Marrakech stadium, but both are world-class, state-of-the-art stadiums.
They make all of us, and I mean all of us, including South Africa, look like a joke. And I'm not sure exactly what to say because anybody on this continent will struggle to do what they have done in terms of infrastructure. To say they have been intentional will be an understatement. And God help the rest of us.
We have to understand that Morocco are just probably geographically African. But in almost everything they do, they're so widely different from most of sub-Saharan Africa. So I would say this is my third time of being in Morocco, and I've been impressed with the stuff they're doing. But they have a long-term goal, and their long-term goal is to host the World Cup. And so that's why they're putting a lot of things in place to do that. Impressive stuff, really, especially if we're going by African standards. Really impressive stuff. But I have to say that if I was to compare them to, say, South Africa, for instance, I would not say that they're miles ahead of South Africa. Not even ahead, in my view. But they've done enough in terms of what they have, to be able to host the world properly.
We all know that Morocco will be co-hosting the 2030 World Cup with Spain and Portugal. And I think that should also be a lesson for the rest of Africa in terms of preparing for opportunities. Because if Morocco had not invested so significantly in their sports infrastructure, they wouldn't have stood a chance, being one of those who will host the 2030 World Cup.
For many across Africa, particularly in Nigeria, Morocco's progress offers both inspiration and a challenge.
The first time Gianni came to Nigeria, when we were in the car from the airport to Hilton, he said to me, I counted about 4 or 5 teams playing football on both sides of the road, from Abuja airport to Transcorp, not on pitches. So just imagine, so that's the gospel we have to preach, and we are working towards that. We have to develop our infrastructure, and we have to start planning quick, medium, and long-term projects. But the good news about the NFF right now is that they are building a world-class facility in Abuja, and that is a starting point, and that's very key and commendable to the Nigerian Football Federation.
In Nigeria, considerable funds are being allocated for sports development, which includes major nationwide stadium rehabilitation projects. For instance, over 24 billion naira has been allocated to overhaul the 60,000 capacity Moulay Abdellah National Stadium in Abuja, the largest stadium in the country. Major renovations are planned for key facilities in Lagos and Ibadan, with the Ahmadu Bello Stadium in Kaduna and the Yakubu Gowon Stadium in Port Harcourt currently undergoing significant reconstruction to meet FIFA standards. Sports administrators and journalists are calling for renewed commitment, urging governments at state and federal levels to invest in infrastructure that can elevate the nation onto the global stage.
For us to have what they have, it has to be a decisive decision by government to back infrastructure growth in this sector. I get it, you understand? But at the very least, I'm not asking us to build Grand Stade Marrakech or Prince Moulay Abdellah Stadium. No, we don't need that. What we need, however, is to ensure that the facilities we need, the grassroots pitches, and I don't mean pitch by the corner, pitches that at the very least upgrade the level of training and quality of football for our nation comes in. We are a rich nation and we are a poor nation, right? So I won't ask, at this moment, I am not here to say, build the grandest stadium for us. No, I don't want that. At the very least, we owe youth development and sport and the growth of sports sector to have quality mini pitches, and I don't mean 5%, I mean full 11, quality mini pitches where the right basics of football can be learned.
For us in Nigeria, we need to get back to basic infrastructure. Let every child in every corner of the country have access to basic sporting, even if it's just a 5-a-side football team, a football pitch. There are multi-court facilities that you can have basketball, you can have basketball, volleyball, tennis on one court. We can have all of that. We need to have all of that in most local government areas. It has to be a governmental thing from top to bottom. Because right now, you even have schools and estates in Nigeria that don't have sporting facilities. I mean, that's a complete no-no. Because you have a school, no school should be, because sports is an important part of education, no school should be approved if they don't have the basic sporting facilities.
It is not beyond our capacity to do what Morocco is doing, but the willpower to do it, I think that is where we are finding a little bit of challenge. It's very encouraging when you go around and you see what Morocco is doing. Global attention is focused on Morocco. The huge investment they have made, I am sure they have recovered more than half of what they have invested as far as development of these facilities are concerned. And we know the ripple effect. You can see how it is also translating in the performance of all their teams at all levels. So we pray that we will also get there, pick this template, work on it. I'm happy that some states in Nigeria, the representatives from some of the state assemblies and House Committee on Sports came here to do a kind of a monitoring of what Morocco is doing, pick the template and see how they can also replicate that in their various states.
We must have a blueprint that says government puts in $500 billion in this industry. But when you do, this is how you will make the money back. Because if I am also in government, the way Nigerian sports is run right now, I will not put a dime in it. I'm sorry. So I'm not blaming the government. I'm just saying that the people who are supposed to be articulating the solution, the need for government to invest, are so into mundane, self-centered, cheap things that when you see them, our sports administrators, and that's from the NSC down to whatever past and present administrators of football, are the pettiest, cheapest, weakest in this Morocco when you compare them to their counterparts from other countries that are participating in this tournament. I'm not afraid to say it. I did not come here on government budget, so I will say it the way it is. And when we are not able to fix that, I think we got a long way to go.
First off is having the right people at the right place. You don't just use the position of sport as compensation to some people because of political affiliation. When you do that, that's a recipe for disaster. So when we have people who understand what sport should be about, because no disrespect, but some of the governors, in quotes now, they see the position of commissioner of sport as compensation. And when you come in, you can't learn sports under 4 years. You need time. You must be in the system, understand what it's all about, and that way you just become like a square peg in square hole, and things will work. So the best thing to do is have the right people occupy the position and let them also know the right thing to do, because we can't just stop talking about the good facility that we've seen here. We need it back home. If we have it home, at least 50% of our problems are solved, because it's one thing to have potential, it's another thing to have facilities to train them on, which is something that is a problem back home in Nigeria.
I mean, if we compare Nigeria with these three countries, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, and now Morocco, I think we are way back. It's like comparing a 10-year-old, child with a 1-year-old child. So we are not on the same level with them. In fact, they are way ahead of us. The best stadium we have in Nigeria, the Akwa Ibom Stadium, should be one of the least, CAF-approved stadium here in Morocco. And I think, that speaks volume about our infrastructures, our sporting facilities in Nigeria.
Morocco's football journey tells a larger story that, with strategic investment and long-term vision, sports can become a powerful engine for unity, tourism, economic growth, and international prestige. As 2030 approaches, the world will be watching, and Morocco intends to be ready. For New Central TV, Udoka, Njoku.